So for the past couple of months, my husband and daughter have been obsessed with Korean shows, popularly known as K-dramas. And not only are they obsessed with Korean shows, they're also obsessed with the food. And one of their favorite obsessions is ramen noodles. Now, growing up in Nigeria, I'm familiar with instant noodles. We eat that a lot. But ramen noodles is a bit different, and there's just a certain way that I'll start cooking it in my household that everybody loves. And I'm going to be showing you how to make that recipe today. For today's recipe, I'll be using a couple of vegetables, and the first is Pak Choi. You can really find Pak Choi at any grocery store. I'll also be using tenderstem broccoli. You can also use a regular broccoli, but what I have on hand right now is tenderstem broccoli. Now, one reason why I like ramen is because you can use a diverse types of vegetables. You can use carrots, you can use kale, you can use any vegetables you have on hand, to be honest. I'll also be using mushrooms. I love mushrooms. My husband loves mushrooms. In fact, if I don't add mushrooms to my ramen noodles, my husband will be asking me where the mushrooms are at. So I always add mushrooms to ramen noodles. I'll also be using onions, garlic, and ginger. It adds a very lovely flavor to the noodles. As a Nigerian, I can't help it. Dry pepper has to be in it. And if depending on how hot you like your food, you can add any type of pepper that you like. You can add cayenne, you can add, sometimes I even add Cameroon pepper. So it depends on how hot you like your noodles to be. So I'm adding dry pepper. Chicken stock, you can use vegetable stock if you like. I'm adding chicken stock to mine. And of course, the noodles. I'm using 2 ramen noodles here because I'm making the food for 2 people. You discard the seasoning that comes with the ramen because by the time you make your noodles, trust me, you don't need that seasoning anymore. Toasted sesame oil is the oil we'll be using. You can use any oil you have. You can use avocado oil, olive oil. When I don't have toasted sesame oil, I just make do with what I have at home. You really can be versatile like you want it. Now, the truth is ramen noodles has a traditional way it's made in Korea, but this is the twist and how we make it in my household, which we have come to love, and I'm sure you will love too. So let's get cooking. So I'm going to start by roughly cutting my vegetables. Just want to give it a rough chop here. Give the onion a rough slice. Next, you grate your garlic and ginger. Now, you can also chop them if you like, but I prefer to grate mine because I don't like chewing chunks of ginger in my soup or in my ramen noodles. So I prefer to grate everything. So to our hot oil, I'll add the onion. Heat is on medium high. So just stir until it's a bit soft. So once you see it's soft, to add our garlic and ginger. And also give that a good stir. Stir for about 30 seconds before we add our mushrooms. Stir for about a minute. Now, another thing you can use if you don't have fresh mushrooms is dry shiitake mushrooms. They add this lovely flavor. If you have dry mushrooms, please use it. It adds a very lovely flavor to the soup at the end. So next we'll add our chicken stock. and 1 cup of water. Typically, I'll use the water to rinse out my stock. I'll add my pepper, my dry pepper. And allow it to come to a boil. Now while this is boiling, we're going to boil our noodles. Now, usually some people boil their noodles inside the soup, but it ends up making the soup gooey, and there's always usually too much starch. You want to wash out the starch in your noodles so that you're not consuming too much of the starch. So we're going to boil the noodles and then sieve out the water while our soup is boiling. So once the soup is boiling, we turn our heat to low while we wait for our noodles to boil. So once your noodles is boiled about 2-3 minutes, you don't want it to overboil, because again, you're going to add very hot soup into the noodles at the end. So we're going to pour it out. So 5 minutes before your soup is done, we'll add our veggies, because we don't want to overcook our vegetables. We just want them to cook a bit for 5 minutes. Heat is still on medium-low. So we're going to leave this for 5 minutes before we serve. Next, divide the noodles into the different bowls, depending on how many people you're making this for. So I'll be topping off with some chili oil. Now, depending on your preference, you can taste your soup to check if you want more salt, if you want more pepper, depending on how you like it. Finally, we'll finish off with a hard-boiled egg. Absolutely delicious. If you try it, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.